In a few videos, I'm going to teach you guys the steps on how to train your dog to accept a Halti. A Halti is a collar that was designed to help with pulling, and the theory is wherever the head goes, the body will follow. This is a great tool, especially if you're going to be walking your dog next to a stroller eventually. So I wanted to break down the steps in how I would teach this, because in the section of the video that talks about stroller walks, if your dog does not understand a proper heel position, or your dog is still pulling on leash or maybe lunging towards other dogs, then you're going to want to integrate this into your training before the stroller part. Now, this is Goose. Goose is an 8-month-old Sheepadoodle. I chose Goose for the video because he is a fun, active doodle, and also because he's a bit headstrong. And normally, like your more headstrong, like controlling dogs, they have the most trouble accepting the halter, but once they do, it makes for a great training tool. I want you to think of like the head halter almost as like cruise control on your car. It just helps overall with the dog and their willingness and desire to like lunge out and do their own thing, and it helps the dog to be able to, you know, just calm down and be in the right state of mind, especially when there's going to be a newborn baby in the picture. So great training tool for young families and active dogs. So step number 1, because Goose is wondering what in the world we're doing. So step number 1 is teaching the dog to just accept the head halter. And this is an important step, and it's important that you don't like rush through it. I want the dog's overall demeanor to be indifferent when the tool is on them. So think of like you wearing a watch, or if you put like a hat on. It's just an extension of yourself. That is how I want the dog to perceive this. I don't want the dog to think of it as being like something foreign on it, to where they have to like get it off immediately. So take your time with this step. So Goose, hey, come here, bud. He can lay down if he wants to, no problem. So first thing I'm going to do is unsnap it. The muzzle of the dog goes through the hole. I put the muzzle in it. Now if he gets mouthy, so see how he puts it in his mouth? No sir. I'm going to tell him no. I'm going to stand up, and I'm just going to lift up on my buckle collar. No. Okay. So I did put him into a sit just so I had a little bit more control over it. No sir. No. So by me pulling up on the collar, it's just trying to get a little control. So he is like not wanting it near his mouth. I'm not going to fight him. I'm just going to hold him steady. And then when it is on his mouth, I'm going to reward it. Now using their kibble, like if your dog has a nice food drive, I suggest using just their normal meal. So say you feed them 2 cups in the morning. Well, instead of feeding them in the bowl, feed them with the halter on. Now when I take it off, I don't make a big deal about it. Remember, we want him to be indifferent about it. It's not about having extreme highs or extreme lows. Sometimes, like if you go to take your dog for a walk and you get them all pumped, you're like, where's your leash? You know, go for a walk, go for a walk. You're creating like too high of a peak, and when you have a baby in the environment, you want everything to be even keel. So get my Halti again. Put it on. This time I'm going to buckle it along the back. The way you fit your Halti is you want it to be snug around the back of the neck. And I'm actually going to turn Goose towards the camera. Good. So I'm just going to intermittently reward him when it's on. My petting is calm petting. I'm not going to do like scratching the face, scratching the ears, doing anything. If he puts any of the leashes or collars, into his mouth, that's where I tell him no, and I gently pull up on his buckle. Now this hanging actually gets buckled to the collar as a safety. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but since it's swinging around and hitting them, I just wanted to make sure to secure that. Because right now the goal of this session now is just for him to be indifferent and accept putting the head halter on. Good boy, Goose. So again, it fits snug here behind the ears. It should go nicely over his muzzle, not be loose and not be able to slide off. Now when he puts, no sir, no. When he puts his mouth on anything, me, the leash, anything that's not appropriate, my correction every time is no and stand up and put tension on the leash. Again, he is just an active boy. Now this behavior you're seeing, his head twisting and stuff, no. That's him resisting a little bit the Halti and realizing that it's on him and he's not necessarily in control. And that's gonna be the hardest boundary of getting your dog acclimated to it, is then to just be indifferent with it on their face, and the first few times of where they're kind of like, get it off, or they realize when you're walking that they can't go where they want to go, that's where you get the greatest resistance to it. But it's easy to work through, and I'm going to give you the steps to work through it. So it's been on him for a little bit. I'm going to unbuckle it, give him a little rest, and then we're going to do it again. So the goal is just on and off as much as you can, rewarding him when it's on, being calm and methodical with the petting, and then making sure to take it off when he's not fighting it. Because if he was, digging his head into my lap or trying to paw it off and I took it off then that behavior he could be able to correlate with it being off of him. So again, open up the hole to it, put it onto his muzzle, snap it around the back, take the loose string, hook it to your backup collar, which is normally your buckle, and now I'm going to give him a few treats. So I will work this session numerous times throughout the day, even the next day or two before you start the next section. When you know to move forward is when the dog will sit there and let you put it on, snap it, and sit politely and not be backing up away from it, or not trying to be mouthy, put the equipment in their mouth, or put the leash or your hand, anything like that. Good. Okay. So until tomorrow when we do our next lesson, and every day we will do this together so that you guys can see the exact process of what I would do to teach and train this.